Okay, if everybody wants to take a seat, we have a quorum, and I will call the meeting to order at 2:01. And if y'all will note the roll, please. Is there anyone signed up for public comments? I see heads shaking no. All right. Then we will skip item number 3, no need for that. Item number 4, report from the TAC chair. Are you impersonating the TAC chair today, Chad?
I am, yes. Yeah, I don't see anyone from TAC here, so I'll cover the April TAC meeting. The TAC had 2 action items, which are also on the board's agenda today, that included discussion and recommendation on amendments to the 2023-26 Transportation Improvement Program and 2045 Regional Transportation Plan, as well as discussion and recommendation on Federal Transit Administration Section 5310 project call. Both of those items were approved unanimously by members of the TAC. And I will note that the public involvement period had ended before the TAC made their technical recommendation on that, which was a request we'd had from the board before. Following that were information items, including an update from Heather Ashley Wynn at TxDOT on potential funding to support CAMPO's various corridor studies and our project readiness program. Teresa Hernandez provided information on development of CAMPO's 2024 and 25 Unified Planning Work Program, which is on today's agenda. Ryan Collins provided an update on our carbon reduction funding program allocation, including discussion of proposed projects and programs for that funding. And lastly, Greg Lancaster provided a status update on development of CAMPO's next travel demand model.
Any questions on the TAC update? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 5, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Mateo, second by Commissioner Inglesby. Is there any comments, questions? None being seen. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. We're going to take up item number 9 next. That probably should be ahead of item number 6 on the agenda, because that is in item number 6. So if y'all could kind of shuffle the deck over there. Item number 9 is discuss and take potential action on the carbon reduction funding allocation.
Thank you. So this item is for the potential allocation of carbon reduction funding. So just to remind everyone that the carbon reduction program is one of the new programs that is directly allocated by the Transportation Policy Board. This came out of the Infrastructure and Investments Jobs Act. And it provides funding for to reduce transportation emissions. So our region is going to receive in the Policy Board approximately $22 million for distribution within the TMA. And a couple of important points about this program is that it does have a 4-year obligation limitation. So we have 4 years with which to put it on a project or it will lapse. And then there's also a 20% local match requirement, which is pretty standard for federal programs, and then also adopted reduction strategies. So currently, as you know, we previously, back in January, allocated $1 million to the carbon reduction plan development. So currently we have available about $7.7 million for distribution. And then on October 1st, at the beginning of the fiscal year, we're going to have another apportionment of approximately $4.3 million. And so kind of going back to that discussion we had in, excuse me, in January and February, as well as we wanted to look at what we can do to what projects we can fund with the currently available funding. And so one of those that we identified is the Regional Transportation Demand Management Program. This is a current program that was funded with STBG funding back in 2018 or 19, I believe. And so we're requesting $4 million in carbon reduction funding to fund this program and also expand it through fiscal year 2027. And so you've got a list of activities that are going to be part of this expansion. So part of this request, though, is that the local match, there's a 20% requirement for local match, and so we are requesting 1 million transportation development credits as well. That application is in your background materials, and this funding will be the 2024 fiscal year funding. And then next, we also identified a currently deferred project. This is a SH71 ITS project. This project was funded back in the 2018 project call, and then it was subsequently deferred in 2020. So this project installs a variety of intelligent transportation system technologies along the corridor. And so this corridor is on SH71, but it's going to go from RM 620 to Silver Mine Drive, which is approximately B Cave, to the Oak Hill Y in the city of Austin. So TxDOT is the sponsor for this project. We are requesting $7 million in carbon reduction funding to fund this project. The state's going to provide the local match with state funding of approximately $1.7 million. So for a total of $8.7 million. And this will be for current fiscal year funding that currently available, $7 million that we have will be put on this project because it is expected to let soon. I do want to point out that the original limits of the project, TxDOT, the Austin district, was able to partially refund part of the original limits that were in the application and your background materials. And so this piece will essentially restore the entire limits of the original project. And so those are the two requests for this, and they are included in the amendment cycle as well. So I'm glad we were able to move this item up. But with that, staff is recommending that we approve the allocation of CRP funding, and corresponding TDCs is listed in the resolution. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions? Councilmember Alter.
Thank you. Can you explain how this is going to be working with the existing entities who are engaged in the same work? I think we asked about that last time.
I'm sorry, which entities?
So existing groups that are working on TDM issues that we have that already exist.
Right, so we have the TDM subcommittee, which is made up of, it's a TDM subcommittee of the Technical Advisory Committee, made up of agencies from the region, and also Movability is an ex officio member of that subcommittee. So that's kind of our main vehicle to work with them. We're also working with the Construction Partnership Program out of the city of Austin. So I would say those are our two main vehicles of how we're coordinating TDM across the region.
Right. Are we setting up, though, a standalone group that's implementing this, or are we working through existing organizations?
The organization is CAMPO, along with its consultants. That's the organization.
But when you go to do the implementation of the individual programs, are we contracting with other entities to do the work, or is this being run out of CAMPO down?
Yeah, so our consultants will be doing a lot of that work, and our consultant from Urban Transit is here. If you have any, you could talk about specifically what those programs are. Matt.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes? Closer? There we go. Okay. Did you want me to just kind of talk through the different programs and the opportunities for coordination?
Well, I think
It's a higher level question.
the
We went through it last
question
time.
really is, and I think my understanding is CAMPO is going to be the organizing entity, but most of the work will be subcontracted out to various entities. Is that?
And that's what I'm trying to understand.
In last meeting, that's the discussion that we had, was to better ascertain those ones that are existing and how we'd actually work with those organizations. It was last time.
Right, and I had hoped that we would have had some information in the interim, so I want to ask for that before we vote.
I think it's a fair question.
Go ahead, Ashley.
So it's more about how it's structured more broadly and the subcontracting opportunities than it is for the specific programs which were discussed clearly last time.
So, Council Member, we, as we go through the steps to implement, and as some of what was talked about the last time was sort of starting small and then expanding as we go out. But as we go out, there will be opportunities to work with some of the folks that we've been partnering with already, whether it's this program or is through another program that we found out about from Environmental Protection Agency, to work with those folks to use their networks to help us implement the project. So we would have to set up a procurement process that meets the federal process, but that's not a hard thing to do. And so to expand a little bit, council member, on the Environmental Protection Agency grant, we just found out about a month ago that there is $1 million guaranteed to every organization like ours across the country that we did not know about and nobody else knew about, and it mirrors this one. So what we did is we worked with, we went to CAPCOG and had a conversation with CAPCOG about potentially sort of handling that on the regional side. They said they didn't have the bandwidth to deal with it. We reached out to the City of Austin, so we're now supporting that through EPA, that funding going to the Office of Sustainability at the city on behalf of the region. And so we're working that in that way, but we're going to work together as a group through the same sort of subcommittee structure that Neer mentioned. But
Thank you. I just, want to make sure that we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here, and that we're going to build off the existing infrastructure that we have with respect to TDM, where it's good, where, and
Yes, ma'am.
fixing any weaknesses as well, but, that it's not CAMPO trying to reinvent everything. And-
no, ma'am, we are.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Yes.
Mine's not a question so much as revisiting a question I think I had last time, which was, is that going to be delineated anywhere for review, just to make sure we know if we want to help participate, for instance, in the school-to-pool program, or, sorry, school pool, not school-to-pool. I don't want anyone bringing their beach towel.
That would be more fun.
Maybe we can look into that in the future, but is there anywhere that we could help understand where are the points of contact for these programs that we may not be familiar with, so we can help make sure there's no duplicity and we're going straight to the source of some of the folks that are handling this regionally?
I think we can lay that out between us and the consultant.
Okay.
And we can bring that back to you, I should think, by the next meeting.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right, any other questions on item number 9?
I just wanted to, if I may, voice support for the work being done on 71. It's important. I think it'll be a little dicey for some of the community members if, they can't turn left. They have to turn right and make a U-turn, but it's the safety work we need to be doing out there, and I appreciate how TxDOT has been reaching out to get feedback from the community, and I'm just looking forward to being part of that process.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, is there a motion on this item?
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Matea, second by Mayor Houston. All right, any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, now we will move on to item number 6, which is discuss and take appropriate action on the amendments to the 2023-26 TIP and the 2045 RTP. And is there a staff presentation? I have 4 individuals who have signed up to speak on this item. But if there's a staff presentation, go ahead, and then we'll hear from the public.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do the presentation. So thank you. So this is just bringing back the spring amendment cycle from the last meeting, and you've got the schedule up there. This has gone to the Technical Advisory Committee twice, and then we also had our public comment period that Joyce is going to talk about in a little bit, and also a public hearing at the last policy board meeting. But again, this is just a regularly scheduled opportunity with which sponsors can make changes to the regional transportation plan, as well as the transportation improvement program. These are both kind of living documents, and so they need to represent the changes that occur over their life cycle. And if I can get this thing. So rather than revisit the all 18 amendments, I just want to kind of highlight some of the amendments. We've got the IH-35 projects. We've also got, we're going to be adding 360 at Courtyard, as well as ARM 2022 at 360. These are kind of joint projects. They're going to redo that interchange there. We also have some transit charging infrastructure. This is a grant from FTA that Cap Metro received, and so we're going to be adding that to the TIP as well. But again, the TIP is the authorizing mechanism for projects that are selected for any type of federal surface transportation funding. So regardless of where it's selected or if it's already been selected, those changes have to be approved by the policy board. And that last point was really that the 2 amendments were contingent on item 9, so we'll just kind of disregard that, but I do want to point out that those that were approved in item 9 are going to be included in this amendment cycle. So I'll hand it over to Joyce to really talk about what we heard from the public. So thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. So as he mentioned, we had the public comment period from March 20th through March 20th through April 20th. The public hearing was held at the last board meeting in April. We had 2 in-person open houses in addition to the online open house that had all of the information online that was available at the 2 in-person open houses. So we had the project list and maps, the project sponsor contact information. If the public had questions about specific projects, then they could contact the project sponsors. And then we also had a link to submit comments online. In addition to the online commenting, you could comment at the in-person open houses by phone, mail, fax, and email. So in total, we received 475 comments. There were 468 of those were about I-35. We also received a couple of comments that wanted to see some improvements to FM 1826. There were a couple of comments in support of improvements to 620 at Anderson Mill, and a couple of comments that were not supporting the ITS programs that are in these amendments. So as is our practice, we replied back to all of the comments that we received. I will let you know that most of the I-35 comments came from one email address, so some of the individuals that sent in emails may not have received a comment back because it was replied back just to that one email address. But it is our practice to reply to those comments. And I did want to just highlight one more thing that Chad mentioned earlier, that the Technical Advisory Committee did receive the benefit of these comments prior to making their technical recommendation at their previous meeting. So with that, I will turn it back over to Ryan for a recommendation.
Thank you, Joyce. So with that, staff and the Technical Advisory Committee recommend the Policy Board approve the amendments as listed and provided in the resolution. With that, we'll take any questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I think I'm going to move to the public comment at this point. There's 4 people that have signed up. I'm going to list all the names, and if you all would be ready, you'll have 3 minutes and no more. So be prepared. If you're not finished, we'll let you know, but you need to stop at 3 minutes. The first person is Hayden Walker. The next one, Addie Walker. Third, Miriam Schoenfeld, and then Adam Greenfield. And Hayden, you'll go first. I don't know that.
See if the mic's on here.
Okay. Yeah, that's better. Hi, I'm Hayden Blackwalker. It's good to see you all today. I'm here to comment on the TIP amendments, a couple of them. I'm the chair of the board for a local organization called Reconnect Austin. For over a decade, we have been advocating for a better I-35. We have spent all those years working directly with TxDOT staff through changes in leadership at TxDOT, and we've worked with the city of Austin and Travis County. My concerns are that the draft environmental impact statement came out in February. I think everybody knows that, or really January. Comments were due March 7th. There were some pretty egregious omissions in the 8,000 pages of the DEIS, and one of those is what I'm here to talk about today, which is that my understanding from talking with TxDOT's consultant, and other people have too, is that stormwater from I-35 will be dumped directly into the Colorado River. There's one storm pipe that comes out into Lady Bird Lake, and there's a second storm pipe that runs out east on Cesar Chavez and then into the Colorado River south, well, below the Longhorn Dam across from Roy Guerrero Park. Our understanding is that's unfiltered and untreated, and the City of Austin and Travis County both took action in February. The City Council passed a resolution, and City Council sent TxDOT a letter both expressing concern over that. So it feels like it's a little bit premature to go ahead and adopt those improvements through the TIP and allow TxDOT to go ahead with that without resolving that issue.
All right, thank you. Next will be Addie Walker.
Hi, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm Addie Walker. I'm also with Reconnect Austin, and I want to reiterate essentially what Hayden said and second that. I think that the DEIS for this project, while it meets some of the legal requirements, it does not satisfactorily evaluate the environmental consequences of an expansion of this highway, especially stormwater runoff. And the city and the county's actions have really shown that these issues are important to the people of Austin. We're really worried about that stormwater coming directly off the highway and into Lady Bird Lake, especially at Roy Guerrero Park. I think those are not only environmental concerns, but equity concerns as well. And what I would ask this organization to do is withhold approval of those amendments until at the very least a better analysis has been done of that stormwater runoff, and ideally a better plan is in place to treat it before it goes into Lady Bird Lake. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Miriam Schoenfield. Did I pronounce that right? I apologize.
Yes, you
if I
did. Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, my name is Miriam Schoenfield. I'm with Rethink 35, and I'm asking you to please not support the TIP amendments that have as part of them the expansion of I-35 through Austin. In making this request, I'm asking you to zoom out and look at the big picture by asking yourselves two very simple questions. The first question, is the center of the city the most appropriate place for an interstate highway? The second question, is an interstate highway the best vehicle for moving hundreds of thousands of people in and around a city? The answer to these questions is clearly no, and if common sense isn't enough, there is ample empirical evidence that supports that. These questions may sound naive to you, and many people would say that posing these questions to CAMPO is completely useless, but what I'm asking from you today is to be naive, to look at the question with fresh eyes and stop continuing along the path of the status quo that has gotten us into this huge mess, which is I-35 today. There is a choice in front of us at this critical juncture. This is the moment to be asking the big questions, because this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity. And we need to ask ourselves, are we going to think about, starting from scratch, what is the best way to move people along this corridor? Or are we going to entrench ourselves further and more deeply into the mistakes of the past and continue the never-ending hamster wheel that is the urban highway expansion program? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Adam Greenfield?
That's right. Good afternoon, Adam Greenfield here from Rethink 35. I'd also request that you withdraw the I-35 amendments from the TIP for the reasons already given. Expanding highways is a largely discredited practice at this point internationally. Even in this country, there are dozens of citizens groups across the country that are rising up against highway expansions. It is just simply, they do not work. We have the international example right here in Texas of how highway expansions don't work with the Katy Freeway, which was expanded to 24, 25 lanes in 2011. 3 years later, peak hour evening congestion times had gone up 55%. Because more people drive. We see this in areas where populations go down as well. So not only does congestion get worse, air quality, water quality, crashes, and so forth all get worse. Here in Austin and the area, we're going to see preschools destroyed, we're going to see homes taken away, we're going to see property values going down, we're going to see commutes getting longer for people who live in suburban and rural areas. So this is very much a project that is taking money away from suburban and rural projects and putting it into an urban project that people do not want. Almost all of the comments you received about I-35 were against the project. Thousands of people, almost 8,000 people have signed up in support of Rethink 35. Hundreds and hundreds have reached out to Austin City Council and other bodies. This is a wasteful project. This is a classic boondoggle. This is unpopular. This will not work, and it will make things worse. This is at the very same time that groups have started springing up again, asking for Lone Star Rail to come back. People want rail. People want transit. And yes, some people will always need to drive. I-35 expansion will make it worse for them as well. So I urge CAMPO, please help turn the ship on this project, because this is the kind of thing that we really should not be doing anymore, and other countries and increasingly other states are stopping doing this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's all that have signed up for comments on this particular item. I'll take a motion in a second so we can get this on the table for discussion, and then, so, is there a motion?
So moved.
All right, motion by Mayor Morgan, second by Councilmember Matea, to adopt the recommended requests, amendments in the tip. Okay, now we're open for discussion.
So, Madam Chair, I guess the first question I have is regarding the Bueller. Okay.
Yeah.
A simple question, and it may be more toward TxDOT than it is toward staff, but about the stormwater runnage, can you expand on that more? I just kind of want to better ascertain what's happening here.
Yeah, we received that comment from the resolutions from the city and the county, and that's something that will be continue to be reviewed and incorporated into final design packages. And specifically, it's I think it's mostly talking about the deepening of the tunnel and the
And preliminary, well, you guys are looking into it as we speak. Has there been anything from the onset that causes you any concerns or anything else regarding the quality of the water in Lady Bird Lake or river or anything else right now?
It doesn't, and I should have mentioned we're also partnering with the city on that. It may involve some detention ponds to have the water treated before it's discharged. But we are just at the beginning of the design process, and the final design details will be worked out prior to that project going to let.
Excellent. And just like you said, you're working with the city of Austin on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Councilmember.
Thank you. Vice Chair Matire, you took the questions I was going to ask. But thank you. I think that's really important to hear that TxDOT will be working with the city of Austin on the air quality and water pollution monitoring and analysis. The other question I had, will there be another comment period opened up when the final environmental impact statement is released? Is that part of the community engagement process to have another public comment period?
I need to go back and check on if that's part of the process or not. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
So, Councilmember, on our end, unless there's a need to line up language in the environmental impact statement and the plan, there won't be one on our end.
From TxDOT? I mean, from campus?
CAMPO.
Okay, I mean, I would just, have that as a consideration of having an additional comment period, just understanding the scope and size of the expansion and understanding that the draft environmental impact statement did not include an analysis on air quality and water pollution, and, hearing from our community and knowing that TxDOT is working with the City of Austin on some of the criteria and measurements, just having that available publicly for the community to weigh in one more time might be helpful for us.
So I would say any project, small or large as the magnitude of I-35, has to follow stormwater treatment best management practices, and especially if you're in the Edwards zone and all of that. So all of that will be followed. I think it's just kind of premature in the process at this point, if that's what I heard you say, Tucker. Is that?
Yes, and this is not in the Edwards Aquifer zone. It's in a different location.
Yeah.
But you're right. We will follow the standards, and enhance those in conjunction with the city if we need to.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Councilor.
Just briefly, and I'm sorry if you said this and I hadn't heard it, but when could we expect more information about what those particular stormwater drainage systems would look like?
The tunnel project is expected to go to LETS, I'm going to say in the spring or early summer of 2024. So those details of design would be throughout that entire time. So between now and the end of the year, we should have those hashed out to get into the final bid package that would go to LET in early 2024.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the requested amendments. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, on to item number 7, discuss and take appropriate action on the FTA Section 5310 project call.
Yeah. Thank you. So bringing back this item from the previous board meeting, so this is the Section 5310 FTA program. This is really a grant program that we select projects for, and it really is a gap-filling program that really enhances the transit and transportation programs in the region, specifically for transit-dependent populations. So I want to point out that Cap Metro is the designated recipient of the FTA 5310 funds, and they also administer the grant program. CAMPO had an agreement with Cap Metro, I want to say back in 2010, where we administer the selection process. So it's a competitive process. We had about $3.1 million with which to fund projects. So this is the very end of the schedule where we're going to be asking for a recommendation, but we started this grant competitive call process back in January. And if I can... And the process we use, this is the board-approved process where we check for eligibility, and then we do a readiness evaluation on all the projects. And then the meat of it is really the scoring criteria, with just to ensure that the projects are really meeting the goals and needs both of CAMPO and Cap Metro and the 5310 program, but also the Regional Transit Coordinating Committee develops a regional transit coordinated plan, and that's part of the evaluation process. So getting to the meat of it, this is the recommendation. So as I mentioned last time, we are able to fully fund all of the projects that submitted this time. So we have 10 projects, a good mix of nonprofits as well as a few local governments as well. One of the things I wanted to point out is that we had a little bit extra left over, and we were discussing at the previous board meeting if we can go back and see if there's a way we can spend as much funding as possible. So with that, we actually did have, after we did the presentation last month, we had one of the applicants reach out to me, this is Senior Access, and realized they attached the incorrect budget to their application. So I asked them to submit an updated budget request, and with that, that changed I was able to make those adjustments. So we were able to maximize our operational funding request. So we had a maximum 1.3 million available, and so we're going to be recommending the maximum amount there, and then we were able to make the adjustments as well under traditional. So we are going to have about $400,000 rolling over into the next project call. It's not at risk of lapsing or anything at this time, and the reason we're not recommending distributing that to the other 10 is that traditional costs are capital fixed expenses, and so without a specific request tied to it, that we didn't feel comfortable making a recommendation to just blanketly approve additional funding for these projects. And the only reason we were able to make that adjustment to Senior Access, because this is a competitive process and have to be fair to everyone, is that we were able to fully fulfill everyone else's requests, so it did not impact their request whatsoever. So we were able to make that adjustment, so I just wanted to point that out as well. We did take this to the Technical Advisory Committee, and they did recommend it as well. So with that, I'll take any questions, but staff and the TAC did recommend that the policy board approve the project call recommendation as provided in the resolution. So thank you.
Is there a motion on item number 7? Okay. Motion by Mayor Houston, second by Commissioner Inglesby. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, I just want to say thank you to Ryan regarding senior access. Yeah, they weren't cognizant of what you actually need to put in from there, so I'm really glad you're able to work with them, because what they're doing, you know, in Round Rock, Pflugerville, East Austin is quite significant for these seniors, so.
Yeah, no, I was glad we were able to do that. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Item number 8, discuss and take appropriate action on the negotiation on the regional mobile emission reduction plan.
Thank you. And so this is, I mentioned it in item 9. This item is, we have selected a consultant for the development of the regional mobile emission reduction plan. This was going back to the scope that was discussed at the January and February policy board meetings, where we allocated $1 million to develop this plan. So once that scope, we finished the discussion at the policy board, we issued the RFP back in February, 21st of February, and so we had 6 firms respond. After completion of the proposal scoring, which is up to 100 points, we invited the top 4 firms for interviews, which is for up to an additional 25 points. So the evaluation results are on your left, and so ICF was the top ranked firm, and so we are requesting permission to negotiate a contract with ICF for the development of the plan. So thank you.
Any comments, questions, Councilmember?
Thank you. I was just wondering, would the scope of this also overlap with the freight planning process at all?
Maybe a little bit. We're certainly going to be looking at freight and how that impacts emissions as well. So we're going to be, looking, it really is going to kind of dip into a lot of different areas, but that'll certainly be part of it as well. And I do want to point out what Ashby had talked about earlier, is there's a very similar EPA grant that is being spearheaded by the City of Austin in coordination with us and CAPCOG and a lot of other regional partners, including WIS in Travis County. And so both of those projects are going to be working hand in hand to kind of maximize the results of both of those. So we've been in good conversations with the City of Austin that's leading that up, and so we're looking forward to that as well. So I think it'll provide a lot of synergy between the two.
So, Councilmember, one of the things I think where there will be some overlap with the freight program is we will be looking in particular at parking for 18-wheelers within the region. The TxDOT plan started looking at that on a statewide basis, but didn't get down to each regional level. So we will be looking at that and determining if there's more need for parking in our region. Can we potentially provide some electrification in those parking spots so those trucks aren't idling for 8 or 9 hours at a time? So that'll be just part of what we'll look at between these 2 programs that will interact with freight.
Thank you. It just seems like there's a lot of opportunity for reducing emissions in that area, and we had already initiated that other study, so I wanted to make sure that we were working together on those. Thank you.
All right, is there a motion on item number 8?
Motion.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Schrader, second by Mayor Morgan. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Item number 10. Go ahead, Teresa.
Good afternoon. I'm Teresa Hernandez with CAMPO. We have, this is a presentation of our draft fiscal years 2024 and 2025 UPWP. It is a federally required document. It's Federal Highway Administration and Texas Department of Transportation approved template. It covers 2 fiscal years. We budgeted the UPWP based on $6.2 million of PL funds, and that was received from FHWA for fiscal years 2022 and 2023. The UPWP identifies 5 main work tasks: administration, data development, short-range planning, the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, and special studies. Federal law requires other agency planning studies to be included in the UPWP, and that is included in Task 4. The draft was presented to the Technical Advisory Committee in April. The final will go back to the Technical Advisory Committee in May. We will bring it back in June to the board for approval, and after approval, it will be sent to TxDOT, and that is due July of 2023. If there are any comments or any studies that you would like included in the UPWP, you can send those to me, teresa.hernandez@campotexas.org.
Thank you, Teresa. This, again, this is not an action item. It's just kind of laying out the time frame and that sort of thing. So if you have any comments, we can get those to Teresa. But again, the TAC will be looking at that in, excuse me, in their May meeting, and it'll come back to us in June.
And just so all of you are clear, we've been working with your staffs to get the planning studies that need to be included for federal purposes for public information. We've been working with them to get those in.
Okay. All right, so we will move on then to item number 11, and this is, Tim, thank you for reminding us, when we appointed Diane Bangle back in January as one of the CAMPO appointees to Cap Metro, that was for an unexpired term, and that term expires in June, and so we will need to refill that. She has expressed an interest in continuing on, and I've already heard great feedback in some of her effectiveness on the board and how she quickly jumped on. So we'll come back in June, but it would be my recommendation that we reappoint her to a full term come June. And let's see. Item number 12, Ashby. I'll let you go ahead.
Thank you. So included in your packet is the draft meeting schedule for this body for next year. And the reason you're seeing it so early now is the folks that run this facility, the Junior League, they like to know in advance, well in advance, when we think we're going to be meeting again, because they get a lot of requests for the use of this facility, so we have to sort of get that booked out in advance. So the draft schedule is there, and y'all can take a look at it, and if you'll let us know if you've got issues with the dates as they're laid out, then we can try to make adjustments to that. Otherwise, we'll have to give the Junior League an answer. When do we have to tell them, Joyce? Kim?
They start their operating year in June, so the earlier we can reserve the space, the better.
Thank you.
So, Joyce or somebody on staff, do y'all want to, just for the record, go ahead and read out those dates so everybody's not having to dig through their backup to look at it?
Yes, ma'am. Let me look through those.
It's not in the backup.
Kim is racing over with the list.
Just tell us when it's not the standard second Monday.
Go ahead, if you'll just read through.
So we have January 8th, February 12th, March 11th, April 8th, May 13th, which is a deviation from the usual schedule because there is a solar eclipse in this area that we're told there should be a lot of traffic potentially. So we wanted to make sure that...
So we're changing our meeting for a solar eclipse.
This is my understanding.
That is a first. I can see a meme coming out on that.
Actually, going to be, the eclipse is actually right at the time of
We're all about TDM on that day. June 10th, July 8th, August 12th, September 9th, October 7th. That is to accommodate holidays that are in October. We usually meet a little earlier in the month. November 4th and December 9th.
It's cool.
All right.
Could you do those again, just a little slower? I couldn't scribble that
we
fast.
will get those emailed out to everyone. We'll get those emailed out to the policy board. And just as a reminder, we often cancel our July meeting. So we will be
And
looking
December.
at that and try to give the Junior League and the board as much heads up as possible. Question?
I just wanted to put a plug in for the eclipse in April. It's going to be amazing, and we have to get ready, and we're working on doing some of that, but it would literally be during this meeting, and you will see complete darkness during the meeting, and I, for one, would rather be outside to see it.
No, I just was commenting that I think that's the first time we've adjusted a meeting for a natural, an occurring event like that.
Can we reserve the space just so we get a good view?
I think the best view is supposed to be up in DFW, actually, in Texas.
Road
For-
Enchanted Rock,
Yeah.
Fredericksburg is like the epicenter. Like, we got it.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm sure all of our people are getting ready, because we're going to be descended upon like, the West Coast was a few years back.
What was
It's going
that?
to be awesome.
3 or 4 years ago?
So just to note for the meeting dates, that is the April meeting, so we'll be looking to adjust that if necessary.
Okay. All right. And if y'all will get that emailed out, that would be great. And the, just as a reminder of the joint meeting,
Yes, so we have been working with the Metropolitan Planning Organization in San Antonio to revive our practice of meeting with them once a year. And right now, we're looking at June 19th? Is that right?
16th.
16th, thank you, I was close. June 16th in San Marcos, and we sent out a save the date a couple weeks ago, and we are working with them on an agenda, and we're getting pretty close.
yeah, so if you all would, please try to put that on your calendar. There was one year, it was a little embarrassing. I think there were like 5 of us that showed up. So please put that on your calendar and make sure you try to make that meeting. And with that, I don't think we have anything else that we've missed on the agenda. So we will adjourn this meeting at 2:47. Thank you for attending.
I know, I got here late. So in expansion, it's still just 2 feet. Thank you.
When is this starting?
So Ashby's got a quick sweet tooth announcement.
So, yeah, I forgot, last time